guys, hello, welcome to my channel. As you can see from the TBR jar in my hand, today we are going to be picking our TBR for June. Also, we have a little blast from the past. This is like the very first jar I ever used. And we're just going to dive right in with our first prompt. I kind of can't really like mix these around like I normally do because this jar barely contains the ones that are in here. And we are starting out with a purple prompt, which is our active prompts, which, by the way, if this is the first TBR jar video that you've seen of mine, each of the colors in this jar do mean different things. So a purple one, again, is like our active prompt, and that just means I either need my phone, another person, a pet, or I need to go somewhere to complete the prompt. And then we also have our green prompts, which are just our regular prompts, and then we have our orange ones, which are like our bad prompts. Essentially, they're just kind of like more challenging ones. For example, like the longest or the biggest book in your TBR, that kind of a thing. So that being said, let's go ahead and see what our first prompt, our purple one, says. It says to use a random color generator to pick a color for the cover. So let me grab my phone. I found a color wheel, so we're gonna actually use that because I feel like wheels are always more fun. So let's go ahead and give her a spin. This one does not have any noise. Ooh, and we got indigo. Oh, okay. I feel like this is a good match for indigo, or at least the side anyway. And I have been wanting to read this for a very long time. Is there anything else that could be considered indigo? Threads that bind are also kind of indigo-y. I feel like indigo is kind of like a bluey purple, and this is more so just blue, I think. I really honestly feel like this one's the best match for that. Ooh, actually, you know what? Hexed. This has indigo in it, and this is a modern day like spicy dark romance that's inspired by The Little Mermaid, and I feel like that would be absolutely perfect for summer, and June is like the first official month of summer, so we're gonna go with this one. I think that'll be a good one. Moving on to our next prompt. Let's dig to the bottom and pull, we'll do this one. Oh, this jar is too small for these prompts. All right, so we have a green prompt next, and ooh, okay, this would have actually been good for the one we just picked. This one says a retelling. These ones aren't necessarily retellings, but they are, you know, reimaginings inspired bys, which I'm gonna kind of all clump into this because I don't actually know how many actual retellings I have, but let's see. Is Never a retelling? I had to do a little bit of Googling, but Never by Jessa Hastings is a Peter Pan retelling. I literally just finished 2 books in a series. I don't know if it's gonna be finished or if there's gonna be more to the series, but it's called like The Devourer of Men by Nikki St. Crow, who wrote the Never King series, which I absolutely was obsessed with, still am obsessed with. And that's like a smutty, dark Peter Pan retelling. And The Devourer of Men is about Hook. So I'm very much in that kind of like Peter Pan mindset mood. So this would actually be perfect. Also, we could do like one of our Greek mythology ones. I have Circe and I have Clytemnestra, but I just don't know if I'm in the mood for that. What else could we do? I could also read Gold by Raven Kennedy. This is the 4th or 5th book in the Plated Prisoner series. Essentially, at least the very first book, it was a King Midas retelling or like reimagining. I also actually have this. This is actually a retelling of The Queen of Hearts from Alice in Wonderland, but like before Alice fell into Wonderland, it says. And I love that story. Alice in Wonderland is one of my favorite movies. The only reason I'm kind of hesitating on this one is because it is the first in a series. And I am in the middle of so many series already. I don't know if I want to start another one. And actually doing Gold would kind of help me finish a series versus, again, starting one. So that would probably be the smarter thing. This one I think is a standalone, I'm pretty sure. I legitimately have no idea which one to pick. I kind of want to do them all. Ooh, okay, this one actually reminds me a lot of The Never King because it's about Daphne, who is like a descendant of Wendy. And I guess she's always known that like Peter Pan is her destiny. And he was supposed to come for her apparently on her 13th birthday, but he doesn't until she's 17. So she's like annoyed by that. And then when he finally does take her to Neverland, he kind of ignores her. And then she runs into Jameson Hook, and she lets herself get swept into his vulgar charm despite the warning signs. Both boys are trouble and both have dangerous secrets about this strange fantasy land they call home, and if she loses her heart to either one, Daphne might just lose herself too. We're gonna go with this one. This one sounds so good. Prompt number 3. Let's pull one from this side of our jar. We've got another green one. A book by a female author. I feel like this one should be super easy because the majority of my books are by female authors. But let's see if I can kind of like narrow it down. What do I feel like reading? I have a bunch of books that I purchased for my birthday and just like were gifted for my birthday, but I haven't filmed my book haul yet, so all of them are on my floor in a pile over there, and I want to pick from that pile because obviously they're the newest ones, they're the most fun, the most like present in my brain, but I don't want to like spoil the fun of the book haul, so I'll have to wait for next month for those ones. Maybe we could do like Milk and Honey because this is a poetry book. And I feel like this would be fun to read throughout the summer. Like I don't feel like I'll finish this in June, but to like start it and kind of like slowly pick my way through it, I think would be fun. Although like a lot of these poems are pretty small, so maybe I will finish it in June. But I do also think a lot of her poems are about being like a woman and stuff like that. Literally, here's one of the poems inside of the book. We've got a vagine, you know what I mean? So we're gonna do this one. Prompt number 4. Let's pick. We ended up having 2 in our hands, an orange and a green. Technically the green one is the one that's like more so in my hands, the one I grabbed for, but because we do only need 2 more picks from the jar in general, we'll just do both of these. So let's do the orange one first. I'm so nervous. Ooh, okay. This one says a genre I don't usually read. The genres that I read from the most are fantasy and like romance. So basically anything beyond that. Honestly, this one has been kind of intriguing me recently. This one is The Deep by Nick Cutter. This is a horror novel, and this does have like water involved, it looks like, which is perfect for summer. And then my next thought was maybe something like this. This is a nonfiction. This is What I Was Doing While You Were Breeding. And this is essentially a memoir about a woman's life, like the things that she does, essentially traveling instead of having kids. And I did actually start this last year, but I didn't get very far because I was annotating it. So I definitely do like the idea of actually finishing something I started. I'm gonna go with this one because I feel like our TBR so far is very like female driven. So we're gonna go with this one. And then our last pick for our jar is our green one. Ooh, this is not something I'm in the mood for. This says just a murder mystery, so. Oh, actually I've got the perfect freaking one. We're gonna read The Midnight Feast by Lucy Foley. I got this last summer with the intent of reading it during the summer and I just never got around to it. And unintentionally, we are now circling back to a new summer. This one says, in the shadows of an ancient wood, guests gather for the opening weekend of the manor, a beautiful new countryside retreat. But under the burning midsummer sun, darkness stirs. Old friends and enemies circulate among the guests, and the candles have barely been lit for a solstice supper when the body is found. It all began with a secret 15 years ago, and now the past has crashed the party, and it'll end in murder at the midnight feast. I'm excited for this. I've only read 2 other Lucy Foley books. One I didn't really care for, and then the other one I absolutely loved. So I'm very curious to see kind of what side of the fence this book is going to be on. So this is going to be our 5th book on our TBR, but is not going to be our final one because we do still have our Kindle Unlimited wheel to spin. The book options that we have are The Death King, Blood of Hercules, Sinner's Playground, Broken Bonds, Alien Tyrant, Psycho Shifter. Oh, I have The Death King on here twice. I definitely feel like there was supposed to be a different book there because I do the colors to kind of like match the covers of the books because I'm a psychopath. And I specifically remember putting The Death King as orange and having something different for blue. Yeah, we're definitely switching that out because the blue one was supposed to be Taming 7, and I definitely don't want to miss out on the opportunity to read that because I have been dying to get back into the Boys of Tommen series. So anyway, we have Taming 7, and then the last one is On Wings of Blood, which is a book that I've randomly heard so many good things about recently, so it's definitely piqued my interest. So that would be a fun one as well. So anyway, let's go ahead and spin our wheel and see what we get. Unfortunately, the app I think like glitched or something when I was filming this. Like I screen recorded it and the wheel was spinning in real time, but for whatever reason in the video, the wheel is not spinning and it didn't show what I ended up getting. So just trust that I'm not lying to you. And I'm gonna like zoom in really close so that you can actually see that the blue one was the one that got picked, aka Taming 7. And with that is going to be our June TBR. And I love kind of like the little color theme that we have going on. We have a lot of like pinks, a lot of warm tones. I'm very excited. I feel like that's actually like perfect for summer. And as a quick little recap, the books that we have are Never by Jessa Hastings, What I Was Doing While You Were Breeding by Kristen Newman, Milk and Honey by Rupi Kaur, The Midnight Feast by Lucy Foley, Hexed by Emily McIntyre, and then last but not least we have Taming 7 by Chloe Walsh. But wait, there's more. If you are part of our Midnight Readers book club, I am going to be picking the 4 options for our book club picks in this video as well. And the options that we have to pick from are ones that I personally want to read myself, but then also the ones that you guys have suggested to me. And I am going to be picking 4 options. So let's pick our first one. This is one that I was actually really hoping would get picked. Shield of Sparrows. I am currently reading Silver Elite. A couple of you guys suggested that to me for next month's read, but I am currently already reading it, so I can't add it to the jar. But Shield of Sparrows is kind of like the next best thing, I feel like, because I definitely fell into the TikTok hype around those 2 books. And now let's go ahead and pick our second book. Actually, let's go ahead and just pick all 3 of them so I don't have to keep putting the jar down. So here's our third pick, and then our fourth pick. Okay, our second pick is Fable for the End of the World. This one has a really cool concept. I can't remember off the top of my head what it is right now, but I'm very excited for this one to potentially be what we read. And then funny enough, our third pick is On the Wings of Blood, which is again the one that a few of you have recommended to me, not just for the book club, but just kind of like in general. And then last but not least, we have another Jessa Hastings book. This is Conditions of Will. And I don't own this one, but it is on Kindle Unlimited, but it is also a book that I want to purchase in person because it does have the coolest cover ever. So Jessa Hastings is also one of those authors that can do no wrong when it comes to a book cover, except for the new versions of Magnolia Park, because I don't really like those. Anyway, with that is everything that I have for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you have had the most amazing of days, and I will hopefully see you in my next one. Bye guys.